After donating blood, my roommate was told she's the child of Myanmar's richest man, a playboy who sowed his wild oats across multiple countries in his youth. At 50, he suddenly decided to track down these offspring to inherit his empire, launching a worldwide search. Something felt off. Using family connections, I uncovered the truth and warned my roommate, "They're probably after your organs. Myanmar's crawling with scams. It's not safe for her." Later, when the Tycoon's children gained financial freedom, my roommate pushed me off a building to my death, screaming, "You robbed me of my fortune, I hate you." When I opened my eyes again, I heard my roommate declare, "I'm going to claim my billionaire father, time to live my princess life." Respecting her choices, I didn't stop her. "Then go live your princess life. Chloe, could you lend me some money? I'm serious about finding my father in Myanmar. Once I inherit the family fortune, I'll repay you tenfold. I'm 18 now. The moment I prove my lineage, the inheritance is mine." Her words froze me in place. The terror of my past life's fall from a skyscraper came flooding back, the numbing pain, the instant death. That agony is seared into my memory forever. And now, the very person responsible for my death was shamelessly asking to borrow money from me, standing amidst this painfully familiar scene. I realized I'd been reborn, sent back to the exact day my roommate Queena asked to borrow money to find her biological father. She'd just turned 18. After donating blood that morning, she returned to our dorm only to receive a call from a supposed blood center claiming DNA tests showed she matched the inheritance profile of Myanmar's richest man. We all knew about the Myanmar Tycoon, a 6 feet 2 inches handsome genius with an IQ second only to Einstein's, though never married. His prolific sperm donations had fathered children across the globe. 5. Now in his twilight years, he longs for the joy of having his children and grandchildren around him, so he made an announcement any of his offspring could come live in his luxurious villa in Myanmar, where daughters would be treated as princesses and sons as princes. Lately, many people have been donating blood just for DNA matching, chasing pipe dreams of overnight riches. Let's face it, everyone's fed up with their dead-end jobs and desperate to strike it rich. When my roommate got that phone call, they screamed with excitement like they just won the lottery jackpot. Same story as last time. The moment she received that call, alarm bells went off in my head. DNA testing takes ages, and if this billionaire really found his long-lost daughter, wouldn't he cover travel expenses, having to borrow money to go, with potential children scattered nationwide? How would his fortune even stretch across hundreds of claimants? What's more, recent news reports show many overseas individuals being reunited with families, but those who went back completely vanished, like they'd evaporated into thin air. So I refused to lend her money, checked official documents, and consulted my uncle in criminal investigation, when even he thought it sounded shady. I warned my roommate to be extremely cautious. Then suddenly, viral posts showed people who'd gone to Myanmar for family reunions splitting inheritances, some vacationing at Burj Al Arab, others partying on yachts, even girls marrying into Myanmar's royal family. My roommate blamed me, she pushed me off a skyscraper, and my vengeful spirit lingered to witness her conspiring with my boyfriend, driving my parents to their deaths and stealing my family fortune. When I opened my eyes again, she was clutching my hand affectionately. "Chloe, sweetie, please. You're the only one in our dorm with money, could you lend me some? You know my situation, my adoptive father's disabled and scavenges trash, my mom washes dishes at a diner, my kid brother dropped out to shampoo hair at a salon. If I just acknowledge my biological father, I won't have to live like this anymore. See, someone as smart as me could never have come from that kind of family." The other roommates showered her with flattery while I watched silently. Her disabled father had collected scrap for years to put her through school until senior year. Her hypertensive mother toiled in restaurant kitchens to support her. Even her brother apprenticed at that salon just to help the family get by. But in her eyes, she'd always looked down on them. Only today did she admit that the man rummaging through trash bins near campus was her father, someone she'd normally avoid with visible disgust. This confession came solely to guilt-trip others into lending her money, a ticket to finally leave them behind. "Chloe, just lend it to Queena already. You're the only one with money. We'd help if we could." "Yeah, Queena's really struggling these days. When she makes it big, we'll all share the good life." Queena grabbed my hand and nuzzled against my shoulder, whining, "Chloe, please, lend me 3,000 and I'll pay you back 30. I noticed her out of that fancy skincare. "I'll get you a whole set." I pulled my hand away. Didn't lend her a dime in my past life. Won't do it now either. That'd be like throwing good money after bad. I'm broke. You know my situation. Just $3,000 per semester for everything. My parents are regular factory workers. And I've got medical bills too, under everyone's skeptical gazes. I began convulsing and collapsed onto the bed, foaming at the mouth. The crowd gasped. She's having a seizure. Queena quickly took 2 steps back, eyeing me with suspicion as if doubting my words. Others looked frightened too, but fortunately, even mid-seizure, I managed to grab the spray from under my pillow and gave myself 2 quick puffs, finally calming down. Everyone backed away as I hugged my blanket, looking at them with sadness. I was actually hoping to borrow money from you. I've got epilepsy but could never afford treatment. Their disgusted expressions were plain to see. I smirked inwardly. Who didn't know how to play the fool? These hypocrites wanted to guilt-trip me, but joke's on them. I've got no conscience to begin with. Oh, so you're actually sick. I thought you were just born with that porcelain complexion. You're not gonna drop dead from a seizure in our dorm, are you? Thank God the college entrance exam is just 2 weeks away. Or I'd really worry she might die here, in that moment. I saw people's true colors. After nearly 3 years of living together, I rarely made a fuss, always sharing fruits I bought, let alone snacks and such. When we ate out and agreed to split the bill, I couldn't be bothered chasing up those who didn't pay. The way they're acting now, it's like the farmer and the viper, Mr. Nanwa and the wolves, me versus a dorm full of demons, heartbroken after failing to secure a loan. Queena sat on her bed wiping tears. Am I really giving up on my dreams just like this? Just then, Lena from the upper bunk patted her head and winked. Queena, why don't you try asking ZHY for help? Queena stopped crying, glanced at me first, then suddenly stood up. I need to go out for a bit. With that, she grabbed her phone and dashed out of the dorm, while the others quickly made excuses to leave too. I let out a cold laugh. ZHY stands for Hayden, my boyfriend. Puppy love was frowned upon by parents and teachers, so we kept it under wraps. Only our dorm mates knew about us. Hayden came from an impoverished family that my parents sponsored. He was both academically brilliant and handsome. Our relationship blossomed naturally. He promised to tell my parents about us once he got into Tsinghua or Peking University. By then I'll have graduated, our child will be 3, and we'll be married, education settled, life milestones achieved. I can peacefully work at the family business to repay my parents' kindness. Sitting on the bed, I suddenly laughed aloud. Had I not died once already, his betrayal might have shattered me. No, I only crave their blood in return. I called my father. His cheerful teasing came through. What now? Broke again? Which bag caught your eye this time? Or is it that motorcycle? Hearing Dad's voice again left me dazed. After my death, he and Mom had wept themselves hoarse. This crisp, vibrant tone was long absent. Dad, it's nothing serious. I just miss you guys. Especially your sweet and sour squirrel fish, I sniffled. Remembering how Father always taught me since childhood to never flaunt wealth in front of strangers, so to my roommates, my father was just an ordinary state-owned enterprise employee, and my mother a neighborhood office worker. Even my boyfriend only knew my mom as the director of some sub-district office in Dongqing district. On this day in my past life, he called demanding why I wouldn't lend money to Queena. When he got angry about it, I finally told him what my uncle from criminal investigations had uncovered. After Googling my uncle's name, he finally realized how wealthy my father truly was. In my past life, my uncle had uncovered his misdeeds, but before he could take action, he died in a car accident. Looking back now, that crash was definitely suspicious. I just never imagined they'd actually managed to bring my uncle down. My father was in high spirits, booming with laughter. Ha ha ha. Then come home tomorrow. Isn't Sunday your day off? Okay, I'll be back tomorrow. Talk later, Dad. I didn't call my mom because she's swamped with work. Back then I couldn't understand, how could a poverty alleviation project director neglect her own daughter, having died once? I finally get it now. Floating by her side, I saw countless people surviving because of her help. When I died, she coughed up blood. Aged decades in an instant, she kept clutching my photo, sobbing apologies. Holding my phone, I sent her a WeChat message. Take care of yourself. Go easy on the coffee. No reply came through. I knew better than to expect a response within the next few days. Just then, a WeChat call came through. I raised an eyebrow. Phones were banned at our school. Mine stayed hidden thanks to good hiding spots, while Hayden's phone, bought with his winter break earnings, usually lived in the library. Plenty of dorm mates smuggled phones too. Even Queena, who scraped by on 10 yuan a day, owned an iPhone. I picked up Hayden's call only to be met with an immediate outburst. Chloe, I never thought you'd be this kind of person. You clearly have money. Why lie to Queena? Why refuse to lend her any? Do you have any idea how desperate her situation is? If she could just get financial backing, she'd have the means for college. By withholding help, you're ruining her life. I rubbed my ear, amused. This was the first time Hayden had ever spoken to me like this. He used to be a master at keeping up appearances, handsome, tall, and academically gifted. He was the undisputed heartthrob of our school, adored by countless girls, but he made me swear to secrecy about our relationship. Terrified people would accuse him of gold digging. Not that I could blame them. My designer bags cost tens of thousands. My skincare routine ran into the thousands. Hardly the spending habits of an average middle-class girl. Pride ran deep in him. Outside of scholarships, he scorned every penny I ever spent on him. Just like him, Queena harbored deep resentment toward the wealthy, viewing all rich people as capitalists. She believed any kindness we showed them was merely the first step toward making them grovel. Hayden, are you talking to me? My voice turned icy. Had it not been for Queena in my past life, I'd never have revealed my family's true circumstances to him. By now, Queena must have told him my parents were laid off and that I have epilepsy, which explains why he's treating me with such blatant disrespect. Well, I'm done indulging his nonsense. Tomorrow, I'll go home and have my father cut off his funding. Hayden paused for a second before sneering. Chloe, did you really think I didn't know? Your parents got laid off, and you have epilepsy. You kept it from me because you were waiting for me to get into Tsinghua so you could use my scholarship money for treatment, weren't you? I burst out laughing. That pig brain of yours can be sharp sometimes, but right now it's being downright stupid. Hayden completely missed my sarcasm and replied coldly, Chloe, just lend the money to Queena now. Consider it a loan from me. I'll pay you back when I get my scholarship. This is urgent for Queena. Time's running out. She needs to go claim her family ties immediately. I gazed at the sky outside and said, why should I lend her money? What is she to me? And since you're so into her, why don't you lend her the money yourself? He was practically spitting with rage. Don't think I don't know. Your parents got severance pay when they were laid off. They must have saved a fortune over the years. Otherwise, how could they afford to support so many people? If you lend money to Queena, I swear I'll take you for medical treatment after I graduate and start earning. Rubbing my temples, I snapped, Hayden, I don't have the energy for your nonsense anymore. We're done. Don't contact me again. You take your rickety plank bridge. I'll take my golden highway. I hung up, blocked his WeChat, and deleted the contact. My phone buzzed with a new message. Chloe, fortunes change like the Yangtze's currents. Don't look down on a poor young man. You'll come crawling to me someday. Fine. We're through. I've had enough of your spoiled princess act. Queen is 100 times kinder than you. Everyone in your dorm hates you. Lay one finger on Queena and you'll regret it. She'll rise like royalty while you wallow in the gutter. You'll drown in the filth. I scoffed as my roommate came in laughing cheerfully from outside, only to immediately straighten her face upon seeing me. They each climbed into their beds while Queena took a basin to the balcony to wash socks. When she picked up my Vital 28 detergent, I instantly snatched it back. Can't even afford your own laundry soap. 3 years of mooching off mine. I'd die of shame if I were you. I dumped all my toiletries, shower gel, shampoo, hair mask, body lotion, toothpaste into my own basin. From now on, anyone using my stuff pays up. I packed up my things. There's no toiletries left in the dorm room now. Yeah. I cut off all 5 roommates in that dorm. How stingy. It's not like borrowing it would kill you. Guess they're really sick and saving up for medical bills. Pay up. Are you that desperate for cash? We're roommates. What's the big deal about using your stuff? Hearing that, I poured her toner on my palms and started rubbing my legs. Since you're so generous, let me borrow this. You, put that down. She lunged to grab it, but I fumbled and smashed it. Still fuming, I squeezed out all her moisturizer onto my hands. We're roommates. What's wrong with using your things? This was Queena's biggest ass-kisser, the fool who'd bent over backwards for them in past lives, now making sure they suffered through her madness. Why you. She lunged at me in rage. I collapsed onto Queena's bed, wildly flinging the lotion bottle in my hand as my episode began. Frozen in panic, she watched Queena rush over upon seeing her stained sheets. I grabbed Queena's hair and poured the lotion over her head. Let go of me. Help. Lena, save me. Her frail frame was no match for me. When Lena saw me wasting all her skincare products, she didn't dare confront me and could only fetch the dorm supervisor. The dorm supervisor grew alarmed seeing my state. After convulsing for several seconds, I stopped and gazed at them mournfully. Don't provoke me, it'll trigger my condition. The supervisor could only scold them to leave me alone. You're graduating soon, don't make trouble for yourselves. She didn't want to deal with this either. With epilepsy involved and her nearing retirement, the last thing she needed was complications. After the others left, those girls didn't dare mess with me anymore. Lena had to use Queena's skincare products, which made Queena absolutely miserable. Returning from night study, Queena curled up under her blanket scrolling through her phone when she stumbled upon a dismemberment case. She shivered, only to feel an eerie chill down her spine. Turning around, she saw me standing there whispering ghostly, "Give me back my life," she screamed, then opened her eyes to find me peacefully asleep while the others were startled awake by her outburst. Lena grumbled unhappily, "Queena, keep it down with your nightmares. I've got to get up early tomorrow." Terrified, Queena opened her phone and stared at the lone app, gritting her teeth. Chloe was downright creepy. She couldn't stand sharing a dorm with her anymore. All night she'd been dreaming, pushing Chloe off a building, watching her body shatter on impact, then feeling ghostly hands choke her neck, demanding her life in return. As Queena browsed student loan options, a pop-up flashed: Triguigwa loan, 0 interest, made for students, exclusive campus offer. She felt tempted, no interest at all. She followed the Guigwa loan official account, where a representative told her there'd be no interest, and funds could even be transferred directly to WeChat, no bank card needed. She got excited since she didn't have a bank card. This seemed tailor-made for her, but mid-conversation, they asked for her photo, so she quietly slipped to the bathroom to take a selfie. The person on the other end insisted she dress provocatively, gritting her teeth. She recalled Hayden's words earlier that day: he was right, for people like them, getting rich was impossible. Now that she had this chance to become a princess, she shouldn't throw it away. With that thought, she sent over numerous photos. It didn't matter, she'd repay everything the moment she came into money. The recipient responded with a drooling emoji, made her fill out piles of paperwork, and still demanded interest in the end. Furious, she confronted them, only to receive the threat: if you don't borrow, we'll post your photos on your campus forum. She had no choice but to borrow. Her resentment toward Chloe growing even stronger. If it weren't for her, she'd never have resorted to using Guigwa loan. The moment the money hit her account, she added the blood center staff on WeChat, asking about overseas arrangements. She couldn't wait any longer. She was done with the college entrance exams. What's the point of good grades when money's what really matters? The next day, I could tell just by looking at Queena that she'd gotten the loan, and she was treating the whole dorm to hot pot. Certain people aren't invited. She even charges for using her toiletries. She doesn't deserve my hot pot, she gloated. I'm leaving for Myanmar next week. You won't be seeing much of me anymore. Lena looked shocked. You're skipping the college entrance exams? Screw the exams, Queena gloated while staring at her phone. Once I become Myanmar's princess, I'll have my pick of elite schools. Ivy League undergrad, Harvard for my master's, Columbia for PhD. Those places totally outclass anything domestic. They fawned over her like she was the center of the universe. I packed my things and left. Couldn't be bothered with these delusional people. All right. Seeing I wasn't rattled, their faces soured. Queena hurried after me. Come on, my treat. Let's hit Haidaleo. Since it was Sunday off, quite a few people headed home. On the playground, Queena whispered to them not to reveal her princess identity. Fearing someone might impersonate her to claim kinship, they chased after me relentlessly, bragging nonstop about how Queena was treating them to Haidaleo hot pot. Suddenly a basketball came flying straight at my head. I dodged just in time, only for it to smack Queena right in the face. She collapsed onto the ground, completely dazed. Queena, Hayden came running over in his sweaty jersey, reeking of body odor. I tried to walk away without even looking, but he blocked my path. Chloe, what the hell are you dodging for? I swung my bag straight into his face. You absolute waste of sperm. Is your brain full of shit? Every word out of your mouth is trash. Why shouldn't I dodge when you throw things at me? And don't you dare mention my mom. You worthless piece of garbage don't deserve to. Go fuck yourself. I stomped on his foot with my stiletto and pushed past him. Hayden got dazed when hit by the trinket dangling from my bag, a Wangmotsi badge that left a bloody scratch across his face as I walked away. With Queena still whimpering, he rushed her to the infirmary without hesitation. Felix, wasn't Chloe rumored to be Hayden's girlfriend? Seems like Queena's the real one here. A few rich boys by the playground started snickering. They were Hayden's opponents on the basketball court. During a break, Hayden spotted me and hurled the ball at me aggressively. They clearly didn't expect me to dodge it. The guy called Felix chuckled. You guys keep playing, I'm gonna check on Chloe. The others exchanged knowing smirks. Felix had been eyeing Chloe for ages. Now that he'd confirmed she wasn't involved with Hayden, he was finally making his move. As I was hailing a cab outside campus, a flashy red convertible pulled up in front of me. The driver looked vaguely familiar, though I couldn't quite place him. Don't recognize me. It's your big bro Felix, he waved at me. Came back for the college entrance exams? Felix, I exclaimed with pleasant surprise. We did know each other. He used to live next door before moving abroad, reportedly to Japan. Hoppin', with his long legs, he effortlessly swung open the passenger door for me. I settled into the passenger seat. For such a high-end sports car, I'm surprised it doesn't have automatic doors. He leaned in so close our breaths mingled, buckling my seatbelt with a suggestive tone. Just wanted you to know, my legs are seriously long. Don't know why, but the mood suddenly tanked. He burst out laughing and floored the accelerator, sending the car roaring forward. Long time no see, you still blush so easily. His teasing made me feel utterly disgusted. I don't know why, but men like him trigger physical repulsion in me now. Felix, how have you been abroad? What brought you back so suddenly? I changed the subject. His eyes flickered slightly. Not bad. but nothing beats being home. I truly love my country. His tone struck me as odd. Maybe dying once made me assume the worst in people, but something about him felt off. In my past life after being murdered, I never heard he'd returned. Why would he come back for college entrance exams this time? There's definitely something I'm missing. We made small talk as he walked me to my door. Aren't you going to invite me in? He leaned against the car and pulled out a pack of 7 Stars casters to smoke. My gaze fixed on the cigarette in his hand. Those were Burmese smokes. I recognized this brand from my past life. After dying, I'd seen them countless times on Hayden's desk. He said his boss gave them to him, masking the depth in my eyes. I smiled. Next time, my dad, and I might need to visit my grandma. She's been unwell and just got out of the hospital. His tone was suggestive. All right, I'm transferring to your school. We'll take the college entrance exams together. Go to university together, just like childhood sweethearts growing up side by side again. Sounds great. I said goodbye and walked home. After the door closed behind me, I leaned against the wall, dazed for what felt like an eternity. Wasn't Hayden supposed to be in Japan? Why would he be into Burmese cigarettes? And that car pendant, it's premium Burmese rosewood with their national totem carved into it. This Felix guy is definitely shady. Chloe's back. Our family driver Leo spotted me and hurried over. Your father's missed you terribly. The sweet and sour fish is almost ready, and your mother will be home any minute now. I rushed inside where Dad waved at me from the kitchen. Take a seat and relax. Dinner's almost served. Leo poured me a glass of water and started chattering nonstop about recent happenings. Leo is the only housekeeper we have, despite our large villa. He handles all the cleaning by himself, though officially our driver. My father rarely has him come to the office anymore. It's always his son Ethan who does the chauffeuring now. He often jokes that this job is hereditary, to be passed down to his grandson someday. Chloe, feeling confident about the college entrance exams, he looked at me expectantly. No big deal. In my past life, I aced the liberal arts exam on my first try. This time will be even easier. That's great. Chloe's all grown up in the blink of an eye. He was kind to me too. But our relationship still ended badly because of my family situation. I clenched my fists. This time, I won't let those villains have their way. I thought it was just a trivial matter, but it ended up destroying my entire family. When Mom came back, she looked surprised to see me. Clearly she hadn't expected my return. Fair enough. On previous Sundays, I'd always made excuses to stay away so I could go out with Hayden. Mom. I threw my arms around her the moment she approached. Nuzzling against her like a child, her eyes widened in surprise before she patted my head. You're just like a puppy, I giggled. I'll always be Mom's little puppy. She burst out laughing, set aside her documents, and started chatting with me. After Dad finished cooking, we had a delightful meal together. During dinner, I mentioned stopping financial support for Hayden to my father. I expected questions, but to my surprise, he agreed immediately. He chuckled when Chloe says something. That's final. My heart swelled with warmth. My CEO dad was nothing like those domineering tycoons. He's simply the best father in the world. Mom didn't object either. Having worked in poverty alleviation for years, she considered middle school sponsorship the reasonable limit, yet Hayden's family supported him through high school. After dinner, Mom looked troubled. Dad massaged her shoulders and asked, "What's wrong?" She sighed helplessly. They dumped this clueless newbie on me who's made a complete mess of things. I'm swamped cleaning up after him. Why don't you request a transfer for him? It's complicated. You actually know him, our old neighbor Quentin from 10 years ago. Him. Dad frowned. Didn't he move abroad? How'd someone like that even get hired? Mom shook her head. I don't know, but he's definitely got serious issues. Mom, I walked over to her. He really does have problems. It all came back to me. Mom coughed up blood because someone poisoned her tea and planted viruses, forcing her to work overtime daily cleaning up those messes without any rest. They even leaked classified information and pinned the blame on her. At that time, Mom was drowning in grief over her daughter's death. No explanation could cut through that pain. I didn't hold anything back and urgently told my mom, "Mom, tomorrow he'll plant malware in your computer, poison your drinking water, and even tamper with that A&P plan you just finalized." My mother looked shocked. How do you know about the A&P plan? If she had doubts about my earlier warnings, she was completely convinced now. Only she and a handful of others knew about this confidential plan. With growing concern, I added, "Mom, you've got to be careful. When you go back tomorrow, check your office security cameras. Someone's tampered with them." My mom suddenly stood up, her face stern with turbulent emotions flashing in her eyes. "Chloe, I believe you. I'll get new cameras ready right away. We can't tip them off tomorrow. Come on, I'll take you to buy cameras." My dad sprang to his feet too. After a few steps, they turned back to look at me. "Go to bed early. You're still a kid. This is when you need your growth." I pouted. Yeah. As they hurried off, I went upstairs to shower. Stretching out on the sun-warmed bed, I started scrolling through campus forums. A WeChat notification popped up. It was from Queena. "Chloe, are you jealous of me?" She'd also sent a photo of Hayden kissing her toes, along with another shot of them making out under a streetlight. I held that gross picture at arm's length. Right then I decided to move off campus for 2 weeks. This was beyond disgusting. He'd do anything for me. "I heard you two dated for a year and barely held hands, never even kissed, lol, how pathetic," I fired back. "Lucky he never kissed me, now he's busy kissing your feet, probably licked his ex's soles too, check for fungal infections with those kinky tastes." Didn't block her. "This clown show's too entertaining to miss," she snapped. "You're just jealous. Money means nothing when the man you love chose me. We've been together forever." "He and I are the same breed," I replied. "You seem awfully proud of being the other woman." She sent a smug emoji. "The one who's unloved is the real homewrecker. You're the third wheel here. Me, you two grow old together with mushrooms in your mouths. That's it. Shut up, you're blocked. Your toxic spew might stink up my screen." After blocking her, I kept scrolling the forum when a new post suddenly popped up. Shocker, popular girl at No. One high school bully's classmates charges $100 for a dab of laundry detergent and steals her roommate's boyfriend. Since it's Sunday and everyone's home with their phones, the thread blew up fast. 1L, wait, what? Is this about Chloe? 2L, always knew Chloe was fake, that knows job money could have fed a village. Disgusting. 3L, seriously, stealing someone's boyfriend, was it ZHY? Rumor has it Chloe's family sponsors him and forces him to do all sorts of things, feels so bad for him. 4L, Chloe's totally that spoiled rich girl type, looks down on everyone, someone should dig into her family background. 5L, heard Chloe has epilepsy, true or just gossip, super intrigued. I texted my dad to get me a camera too, one with audio recording. Scrolling through forum posts, I kept seeing one after another exposing all my flaws. I noted down their usernames and sent them to my senior who moderates the forum, asking her to look up their real identities. She replied quickly, just as I suspected, it was those idiot roommates of mine. The next day, I returned to the dorm with a camera and installed it under my bed, a pinhole-sized one they'd never notice. I packed my things and will leave the dorm after class later. When people started whispering about me in the classroom, I slammed my book on the desk, loud enough to be heard, crossed my arms, and scanned the room, without proof. This is slander. You wouldn't want to end up in jail or paying damages. Would you? With my family's resources, putting a few people behind bars would be child's play. The classroom fell silent instantly. My estranged roommates clearly couldn't stand me, while Queena took leave, claiming she needed to process paperwork for studying abroad. She was about to become a princess in Myanmar. Hayden stayed with her and skipped class too, while I studied all day. Leo was thrilled when he came to pick me up. I'd moved all my stuff out, meaning no more dorm life. Now he gets to drive me to school every day again, just like when I was little, and he couldn't be happier. Back home, my senior sent me a message saying there was a new post about me on the forum. Exclusive campus belle sugar baby scandal. Old man picks her up in Maybach after school. Photo proof, image. I couldn't be bothered reading the replies. After thanking my senior, I checked the camera feed, just as I expected. They were badmouthing me with all sorts of nasty comments. The dorm lights were long off, leaving only their hushed voices audible. "Lena, so what if she's been with Hayden for a year? He never loved her. She's clueless that Hayden started dating you 6 months into their relationship, sneaking out to watch movies together. That's real love." Stella, exactly. The real homewrecker is the one who isn't loved. How could she ever compare to Queena? You're destined to be princess material, Ruby. Queena, how far have you and Hayden gone? Queena replied shyly, "We've been together many times since we first got together, everyone, OMG, he was still Chloe's boyfriend back then, that's wild." Queena, he said Chloe wouldn't play along, just acted all innocent. He never liked her, only kept her around because her family funded his education. He never loved her. I'll go trash her on the forum again tomorrow. Seriously. We only used her toiletries for 3 years, how stingy to cut us off the last 2 weeks. I've secretly used her black bandage cream multiple times, same, I even used her miracle toner on my feet lol, I've been using her white bandages body lotion, hilarious right, I forced myself to stay calm, they'll pay for this. 5, squinting my eyes, I already had a plan forming in my mind, I saved their conversations, these were my hooks for revenge. School days passed quickly, Felix transferred to our class, growing noticeably quieter, his gaze turning icy whenever he looked at me. I asked Mom about Quentin. She said he'd been arrested as a spy, and they'd uncovered many of his accomplices, but the authorities didn't go after his family, so Felix is still attending classes, though it's odd how overly friendly he acts with many girls in our class. He even pressures them to donate blood, with plenty of his bootlickers egging them on. After the blood drive, Our class suddenly gained several children of Myanmar's wealthiest tycoons. Everyone kept their newfound fortunes secret. Terrified their royal titles might vanish if word got out, Felix tried pressuring me to donate too, even rallying the class to guilt trip me. I shut it down with epilepsy's contagious through blood. You really want that? I didn't stop anyone. The classroom buzzed with giddy excitement. I'm about to strike it rich. I always knew someone like me wasn't meant to be poor forever. Same here. How could a phoenix emerge from a village? I was born to be a princess. Screw the college entrance exam, I want instant wealth. People born with silver spoons will never understand us. She's probably laughing at our wild dreams right now. I've seen so many of my siblings posting their scuba diving videos from the Maldives, and I knew that very Sunday, they'd all be heading out together for the family reunion. After evening study session on Wednesday, Hayden and Queena cornered me at the school gate. Hayden sneered, "Chloe, I told you not to underestimate the underdog. Soon you won't even be worthy of my time." I nodded. "Oh, then I wish you skyrocketing success. May you die forgotten in some foreign land." He hissed through gritted teeth. "Do you even know how to use idioms?" I laughed. "Then I hope you two trashy lovebirds drop dead and get reincarnated sooner." Queena pointed at me. "Chloe, who do you think you are? Your reputation at school's been trash forever." I shot her a disdainful look. "Oh really? Care to check out today's trending forum post?" After I left, they rushed to the library to grab their phones. When they saw the post, they nearly smashed their phones in rage. I exposed everything they'd said in their dorm, along with screenshots of Queena's provocations and messages Hayden had sent me. Comment number 38. The unloved one is the homewrecker. That's the funniest shit I've ever heard. Post number 39. Unbelievable. They've been using someone else's stuff for 3 years and still have the audacity to brag about it. Post number 40. Called it. Glad I didn't pick sides prematurely. Post number 41. Doesn't this terrify anyone? These people genuinely believe they did nothing wrong and are blaming the victim instead. I didn't just expose them on forums. I blasted them across Weibo, Douyin, and Jiu too. Some campus forums are stirring up drama, but not these major platforms. Those gossipers are the ones who'll truly face public disgrace. When her father found out, he posted from his official account, "To those slandering my daughter Chloe, expect legal notices at your doorstep soon." The internet was stunned. Who knew Chloe was actually the daughter of Weed Tech CEO? Seriously, Weed Tech's heiress needing a sugar daddy. Their new electric cars are selling out faster than hotcakes. You really think money's an issue? OMG, my classmate Chloe is actually the only daughter of Weed Tech CEO. She's so down to earth, lives in dorms like us, and I've even seen her drinking Mishua. I share the same boba with a billionaire heiress. She's inheriting Weed Tech's 100 billion empire. Holy crap, never expected this to blow up. But having my dad's support feels amazing. Mom wasn't idle either. She cut off financial aid to numerous people, all those who insulted me on the forums, and issued a public notice. "We'll never abandon students with both moral integrity and academic excellence, but those with questionable character don't deserve my hard-earned salary to propel them to success." That's right, Mom funds all these students with her personal salary, so even higher-ups can't interfere. By the time I returned to campus, my true identity was an open secret. Sycophants multiplied overnight. Hayden would slink away with his tail between his legs when he saw me, though he still managed to ask, "Why didn't you tell me your Weed Tech is heir?" I sneered. "What? Trying to take advantage of a helpless family?" His face turned crimson. "How could you think that of me?" I scoffed. "Because you're a shameless scoundrel." He slunk away with his tail between his legs. Queena grew even more jealous, spreading rumors in class that I was some capitalist elitist who looked down on everyone, constantly badmouthing people in the dorm. People used to believe her, but now they just think she's full of crap. These small fries aren't even worth a second thought from a billionaire heir. Getting roasted by her is practically an honor, seeing that smearing me didn't work. Queena couldn't stand the sight of me anymore and kept preparing for her Sunday trip to Myanmar to meet her daddy. All my roommates got hit with cease and desist letters. Now they don't even dare to look me in the eye. Their families are tearing them a new one, but at least they're also flying out this Sunday. The billionaire has many children, and they're one of them. I used to envy Queena, but now I've discovered I'm in the same boat. No more staying home getting scolded by parents. Felix was swamped, but he still carved out time to meet me on Saturday night. I didn't go see him. I'd already figured he planned to drag me along for this family reunion charade. True, I haven't been idle these days. I've been digging into his family affairs. Turns out he's the point man for this whole billionaire's love child situation. After those people donated blood, he'd contact them and have his organization scam them. Even the loans were part of his scheme. I don't care, and I won't interfere. Last time I stopped one person, my family was destroyed. If I stopped a whole busload now, I suspect my entire city would pay the price. Everyone on that bus wronged me in past lives, not just the mastermind, but the enablers, the slanderers. If I'd been weaker under their attacks, I'd have died 100 times over, so why should I care what happens to them? They flock to it themselves, nothing to do with me. After all, they're adults with their own minds. It's really not my place to interfere. When Felix failed to get to me by any means, he tried to have me run over, but Leo swerved the car at the last second as a truck barreled toward us, narrowly avoiding a collision. Me, that amateur thinks he can take me down. I've been driving since before he was born. Hold tight, Chloe. Leo sped down the expressway at 120 miles per hour, only to find a bunch of thugs blocking the road. He sneered, slammed the brakes, locked the car doors, and grabbed a baseball bat before stepping out. Leo, I called out, my voice laced with concern. He chuckled. Don't worry, kiddo, your old man and I've been through hell and back, took bullets for each other more times than I can count, been pruning roses too long, time to weed out this trash. Before I could blink, he'd taken down 10 thugs with brutal efficiency. Leo got into the car with lingering excitement. Man, these punks nowadays can't take a punch, not like the tough guys back in our day, they had real grit. He made a quick phone call before speeding off toward home. I was still dazed when we arrived. He patted my head and said, go wash up and hit the sack, I'll fill your dad in on today's mess. Back in my room, I spotted Leo standing in the garden through the window, deep in conversation with his son Ethan. While scrolling through Douyin, I came across a video titled The Legendary Top 10 Bodyguards and Who They Protect. The first has already vanished without a trace. 10th place, Chinshuadu. 3rd place, Leo, the legendary martial arts master rumored to possess wall-running abilities. Some even claim he's an immortal cultivator, allegedly serving as the CEO of WeTech's personal driver. This man was once a truly fearsome presence with godlike driving skills, having represented our country in international racing. 2nd place, I swallowed hard. Leo was truly the epitome of Loki. If it weren't for me in our past life, he wouldn't have, as expected. Being both love-struck and a bleeding heart leads to ruin. Even the heavens won't side with you, no matter how OP your cheat skills are. They can't save a fool in love or a do-gooder. Felix probably left after failing to catch me. When I returned to class the next day, only a dozen students remained. Mind you, there were 32 of us originally, now less than half were left. Our class is an elite program, only top-performing students get in, and over half come from low-income families. Sure enough, many financially struggling students remain, while some better-off classmates have left. The homeroom teacher froze in shock upon entering. This many absences, where's the class president? That's when everyone realized Hayden was missing too. The homeroom teacher frowned as someone timidly raised their hand. Ms. Zhang, yesterday a bus pulled up at the second intersection and tipped them all away. Only then did the teacher realize the gravity of the situation. Her phone had inexplicably crashed yesterday, preventing her from seeing the parents' messages. When she logged into WeChat using someone else's phone, she discovered her own device had automatically replied to parents, "The children are studying with me tonight. Don't worry, many students are here." She collapsed instantly. Someone was framing her. Parents of missing children caused major disruptions at the school, with some even camping outside the gates. The uproar spilled over into online platforms and disrupted campus life. Police had to intervene and negotiate with them before they finally left, just in time to prevent interference with other students' college entrance exams. The campus became a pressure cooker of anxiety, while everyone buried themselves in studies and official forums got shut down. An unmoderated site leaked compromising photos from Google loans, threatening to expose students' intimate images to their social circles unless parents repaid debts. Criminal investigators got involved, but the perpetrators operated overseas. Authorities could only play whack-a-mole, shutting down forums and blocking IPs, only for new ones to pop up immediately. The police questioned us too, and I had to tell the truth, I don't know either. They said they were going to meet their biological family and even got a call from the blood center claiming the DNA matched. They were told they're the children of Myanmar's richest family. Things blew up, and the internet went wild. The blood center clarified they had nothing to do with it. They'd been exploited. That so-called staff member was fake, and the phone call was a scam too. My cousin's gone missing too. He wanted to top up for in-game skins, but my uncle refused. Next thing you know, he got scammed and vanished. Can they really be stopped? They couldn't have gotten far overnight. Don't even bother thinking about it. They've got dedicated smuggling routes. Those kids never stood a chance. Holy shit, hundreds got scammed. Kids these days are way too gullible. Back in our day, we'd never fall for that crap. These students nowadays, always glued to games and computers, minds wandering everywhere. Offer them cash and they'll bite instantly. Bet those victims were the same type spamming manifesting luck in comments and sharing Detective Conan exam memes before tests. The police soon confirmed those children had been smuggled abroad. Their captors barely needed coercion since the kids complied so readily. Cross-border investigations hit dead ends as locals actively shielded targets from foreign officers, and warrantless home searches weren't an option, making the manhunt exponentially harder. Not that any of this was my business anymore. All right, the thug Leo helped arrest confessed. Felix ordered my abduction and orchestrated the car crash. Felix is now wanted nationwide, with my father offering $1 million bounty for his capture. Felix's father received a life sentence, while his mother died vomiting blood. All right, it turns out his entire family became spies after emigrating. Their return aimed to sabotage poverty alleviation efforts, hinder development, and incite public outrage, but they were exposed before taking action. Felix specialized in luring gifted children abroad. The Burmese billionaire was implicated too, though he denied involvement when questioned. His untouchable status prevents further investigation, yet his inexplicable rejuvenation remains a mystery. Amid this climate of tension and paranoia, the national college entrance exams commenced. Crowds of parents in Kipeos gathered at school gates, all hoping their children would win victory in the first battle, a play on words with the Cheongsam slit design symbolizing a successful start. But I never bought into this superstition. Parents who neglect their children's education year-round, indulging them instead, achieve nothing by suddenly wearing kipeos on exam day. Take Queena's parents for example. On my final exam day, they cornered me with venomous glares. "Did you abduct our Queena?" they snarled. "The whole dorm left except you. Return our daughter. Is this because you envied her better grades?" When they lunged to grab me, I kicked them both. Their sickly frames were no match for me. My uncle noticed the commotion and rushed over with several other men. "Are you okay?" My uncle looked at me with concern. "I'm fine." I smiled at her. He ruffled my hair and said, "Go home now. I'll handle them." I found Leo parked in the last spot. There were so many cars today that he couldn't get closer to the front. Later I heard from my uncle that he had Queena's family detained for a few days on charges of provoking trouble. After the college entrance exam results came out, I scored even better than in my past life, ranking first in the province. To celebrate, my dad treated stray cats and dogs in the neighborhood to 3 months' worth of canned food, and even established an animal rescue center in my name. As he put it, raising ungrateful brats isn't half as rewarding as caring for cats and dogs. I couldn't agree more with him. My life has settled into stability, with Ethan becoming my bodyguard. I chose to attend Tsinghua University since it's close to home. Over the past 3 months, our national police have gradually uncovered numerous missing young people, all found brutally murdered with their organs harvested. Seeing those trending topics online fills me with mixed emotions, knowing there's nothing I could do to save them. They'd never believe me, only despise me. This happened in my past life too. I won't waste pity on them. During freshman summer break, my roommates and I went out only to get surrounded by a gang. Their leader had hideous scars covering half his face. I recognized him instantly. "Felix, what do you want?" My current roommates were real ones. They shielded me while I secretly texted my uncle, "Help me, uncle, with our location. Take them all away," Felix snarled, glaring at me with pure malice. Just as they charged forward, several stray dogs came out of nowhere, barking fiercely at them. "It's Lucky and the gang," my roommate cried out in delight. These were the strays that roamed around campus, not yet taken to the shelter. 7 or 8 dogs lunged at them, well fed by the girls. These strays had plenty of strength and showed no mercy when biting. Lucky, Max, Gray, tear them apart. Wait, no, maim them. A few stray cats joined the fight too, and in that moment it hit me, keeping cats and dogs is infinitely better than raising scum like Hayden. When Uncle arrived, we were fine, but Felix and his crew got caught limping away. "These dogs," Uncle frowned. I grabbed his arm. The rule was clear: stray dogs that attack people must be put down. But Lucky and the others were just lying there obediently, gazing at us like they were waiting for praise, not looking the least bit dangerous. "Uncle, I'll take them to the shelter right now. They're good dogs. Please don't have them killed this time." My uncle sighed with amused resignation. We didn't see anything special, just bagged ourselves a third-class merit. After all, capturing Felix came with a hefty bounty. Haha, perfect. I immediately called my friends at the rescue center to come pick up Lucky and the others. Uncle took Felix and the others away, along with a few Burmese folks. Looks like they'll be tied up for a while. When the rescue team took Lucky away, I made sure to remind them to give the dogs some cans as treats. Lucky and the others wagged their tails excitedly at us, absolutely thrilled, watching their figures disappear into the distance. A smile crept across my face. How wonderful, another day to love our furry friends even more. Linking arms with my girls, I said, "Let's go get seafood today, my treat." "Seafood sounds great, but we're splitting the bill. I've already sent you the money, accept it right now or we're through." "Hell yeah." We're splitting this bill, even brothers keep clear accounts. Can we just grab some cheap street food? I'm running really low on cash this month. Young, you did my laundry last time and I still owe you a meal. My treat today. Deal. Then I'll wash whatever you're wearing today too. Thanks, Princess Chloe. Don't mention it. Haha. Having a wealthy roommate sure pays off. Landed me a proper job. They'd always looked out for her, and she never forgot their kindness. Later, I went to see Felix because my uncle said he wouldn't talk unless I showed up. Through the glass, his disfigured half-face looked ghastly like a specter. Do you want to know what happened to Queena? Haha. First we carved out her corneas, then took her kidneys in the dark, drained her blood. In the end, she begged me to let her go, swearing she never came to claim kinship. We got the wrong person. She said you stopped her. I bet you knew something. So it was you who killed my parents. I sat cross-armed in the chair. The wicked will reap what they sow. You brought this upon yourselves. Traitors should have expected this end. Haha. That little boyfriend of yours died horribly too, crying that you were his true love while claiming your fortune as his own. The mad fool, though his body fetched a fine price, and your friends, each was worth a small fortune. Haha. The Myanmar Tycoon does seek heirs, but not trash like them. It's specimens like you he wants. Your body could restore his youth. I'd have taken you already if not for those damn dogs. His eyes burned with fury. How I love and loathe you in equal measure. My Chloe. I stood up, done with his nonsense. Just confess everything. Maybe the state will grant you a bullet, a quicker way out. His nails scraped against the glass. No, save me. I don't want to die. Chloe, don't you remember Felix? I carried you home when you fell as a kid. Chloe, don't give up on me, please. Even at the door, I could hear his manic laughter. Haha, impossible. This plan was flawless. It worked in my past life. Why did it fail now? Was it you, Chloe? As I exited the prison, my uncle handed me a warm milk tea. I'll have someone drive you back to campus. Gazing at the moon outside, I took a sip of sweet milk tea. Nothing compares to the moon in one's hometown. Story 2. My mom's always cutting corners, especially at my expense. After she cost me 3 jobs in a row, I fled to work as a zookeeper. Never thought she'd track me down here. While I was busy, she took my brother to vault the enclosure and wrestle a peacock, leaving a rare white peacock severely injured. After the zoo held me accountable, she hijacked my account to post entitled Momzilla rants that got me cyberbullied. Kids will be kids. My child wrestling that peacock shows courage. What would you know about parenting? When I begged her to settle with compensation, she shoved me off the building and spun it as my desperate suicide attempt to extort the zoo. She later used the settlement money to buy my brother cars and property, while I woke up back at the zoo like some twisted déjà vu. This time, I directly requested a transfer to the tiger enclosure. Only when I saw that rare white peacock strolling leisurely in the garden again did I finally confirm my rebirth. My last memory was of my mother immediately using the zoo's compensation money to buy my younger brother a mansion right after my death. Whenever people mentioned me, she'd just dismissively wave her hand. What a waste of a daughter I've raised, killing herself over trivial matters without a thought for her own mother. Even as a spirit, those words chilled me to the bone. She made me do all the household chores growing up, while every penny I earned went straight to the family. In the end, she murdered me with her own hands, all for my brother's sake. The phantom pain of falling 13 stories still lingers, my forehead beating with cold sweat until the vibration in my pocket jolts me awake. It's a text from my mother. 1. Claire, why didn't you tell me you got a new job? I brought your brother to the zoo. 30 yuan per ticket is outrageous. Come tell the security guard to let us in for free. My fingers tightened around the phone as I read the exact same text message from my past life. In my previous life, my mother had sent me this identical message too. After she'd cost me 3 jobs before, I swore I wouldn't let her in this time, yet she still managed to buy a ticket and show up. The moment she stepped in, she started complaining at me. $30 just to see a few animals. What a ripoff. Her eyes darted around before locking onto the white peacock strolling in the garden. Claire, there's hardly anyone here now. Just sneak your little brother in through the side gate, otherwise this ticket price is such a waste. My mom's always been a penny pincher. I've known that since childhood. Little did I know that after graduation, she'd start exploiting my career for her own gain. My first job was as a hospital nurse, exhausting work, but at least we were angels saving lives. Unaware of the mischief my mother would stir up, I happily agreed when she asked to visit me at the hospital. In the blink of an eye, she'd already sneaked photos of a patient's medical records. 3 days later, someone reported that doctors in our hospital were secretly promoting health supplements to patients with hypertension, hyperlipidemia, and hyperglycemia. I went to check out the commotion, only to find my face plastered on the product packaging. Cornered by the dean's interrogation, I couldn't defend myself no matter what I said. Just then, my mom showed up triumphantly and dumped an armful of supplements into my hands. "Claire, I got you appointed as the supplement company's health consultant. You get 20% commission per sale. Now we've got both eyewitness testimony and physical evidence." Before I could defend myself, the dean publicly reprimanded me, shattering my nursing dreams. My second job was as an English teacher. One day after work, I came home to find over 20 students gathered around a small table waiting for me. My mom yelled at me while cooking, "Claire, these students have all paid for tutoring. Since you're free after work anyway, why not give them some extra lessons and earn some side income?" I was so anxious I nearly burst into tears. "Mom, don't you know teachers aren't allowed to tutor privately now, let alone charge for it? If I get caught, I'll face disciplinary action." Before I could finish speaking, school officials showed up at my door with a complaint letter. In the end, I was not only fired but also had my teaching license revoked. After that, I took a job as a sales associate, only to discover my mother was stealing product samples to resell. Needless to say, I lost that job too. After losing 3 jobs in a row, I finally snapped and took a zookeeper position overnight, moving here immediately. Never thought my mother would track me down anyway. Last lifetime. Her freeloading ways actually cost me my life in the end. Remembering that gruesome death from my past life, I silently clenched my fists and made a silent vow. I'm getting away from my mom this time no matter what. Ignoring my vibrating phone, I quickly messaged the zoo director requesting a transfer to the tiger enclosure. The transfer wouldn't be approved that quickly, just as I was about to make up an excuse to take leave. My colleague Hilda shot me a nasty look. Some people think they can slack off just because they're young and pretty, even shameless enough to seduce the elderly director. Disgusting behavior. Hilda works at the aviary next door and has been with the zoo forever. She's had it out for me since day one, especially after the director praised my cleaning while calling her out for slacking off. Hilda immediately started spreading rumors about me sleeping with the boss. She's always bad-mouthing me behind my back. I tried to walk away, but she actually grabbed my arm to stop me. "Claire, where do you think you're going? Don't think seducing the director gives you license to slack off. I'm a veteran here. One word from me and you're reported." I shot her an icy glare. "Let go. Keep slandering me and I'm calling the police." Hilda froze for a second before becoming even more aggressive. "Go ahead, call them. You're threatening to call the police over a few words. Must be feeling guilty. You young girls these days have no boundaries." With time running out and Hilda being such a persistent troublemaker, I yanked my hand free from her grasp. Just as I was about to leave, a familiar voice made me freeze in my tracks. "Claire, I knew I'd find you here." I turned around slowly to see my mother walking toward me, holding my little brother's hand. She wiped her sweat while grumbling, "You didn't answer your phone. We had to pay $60 extra for tickets. You're covering this expense." Here we go again, the exact same words as in my past life. I struggled to control my breathing, trying not to show any unusual reactions. "It's not like I asked you to come find me. Besides, even if I worked here, I wouldn't have the authority to bring people in for free. If there's nothing else, I'll be going now." My mother seemed stunned by my uncharacteristic coldness toward her, hesitating for a moment before following me. "Claire, how could you speak to your mother like that?" With a hurt expression, she lowered her head and launched into that familiar refrain, "Your father died young. I raised you and your brother single-handedly. All I'm trying to do is save some money. Is that so wrong? Every penny I put aside will go to you too eventually." She's repeated those words countless times since I was little. My father died in a car accident when I was young, leaving my mother to raise my brother and me alone. Knowing how hard she worked, I never asked for pocket money or toys growing up. Starting college, I juggled studies with part-time jobs, sending every penny home, yet all my sacrifices only led to a brutal death. I only learned after my death that the compensation from my father's passing, combined with our hometown's demolition payout, amounted to a fortune, yet my mother never spent a single cent of it on me, while I endured bullying at school for wearing hand-me-downs. My elementary-aged brother was already sporting Air Jordans and the latest Apple gadgets. When I suffered harassment from customers for minimum-wage holiday jobs, my mother secretly bought my brother a luxury RV worth millions. Had I not died once before, I'd never have realized how deeply my supposedly egalitarian mother favored my brother. Now when I look at her, nothing remains in my eyes but icy detachment. "Then transfer back the wages I'd previously entrusted to you." Mother choked on her words, rendered speechless. Just then, my little brother started wailing to play with the peacock. Mom was busy soothing him while shooting me a helpless look. "Come on, Claire, we came all this way to see you. Open the door so your brother can play with the peacock, and let me snap some photos." Without another word, I immediately herded the white peacock back into the inner enclosure and locked the door. My brother instantly let out a piercing shriek. "I want the peacock." Let me play with the big peacock. My mom was completely stunned. Claire, your little brother rarely visits. What's gotten into you? I said flatly. Sorry, the peacock isn't feeling well. You should leave. Suddenly, Hilda, who'd been watching the commotion, walked over with a beaming smile. Auntie, if you don't mind, come see the flamingos from my side. I can open the service gate for you. My mother jumped at the offer, grasping her hand while showering her with thanks. Hilda looked absolutely smug about it, even throwing me a deliberate side-eye. Some people are so cold even to their own family, no wonder they've got no shame. Watching her enthusiastically open the little gate, I nearly burst out laughing. Hilda probably doesn't realize my brother isn't actually a child. Too, he's already 17. My brother Bram has dwarfism, his physical growth permanently stalled at age 8, leaving him with a childlike appearance, beyond his short stature. He also has intellectual disabilities and a volatile, impulsive temperament. Growing up, my mother spent a fortune cleaning up the messes he caused with his reckless behavior. In my past life, this very person harmed the white peacock I'd painstakingly raised. In this life, Bram visited Hilda's flamingo sanctuary. Little did he know, flamingos aren't exactly pushovers when it comes to fighting. After making sure the door was locked, I headed straight to the director's office to request access to the tiger enclosure. Unsurprisingly, the director approved. After all, Nora the tigress in the enclosure just gave birth recently and has been extremely territorial, having already bitten 3 keepers in a row. The zoo director was desperate to find someone to handle this mess, so he jumped at the chance when this sucker, me, volunteered. I always knew you youngsters could tough it out. The director chuckled while reaching for my hand. I fought back nausea while counting the seconds. Just as I was about to lose it, a panic shout came from outside. Principal, something terrible has happened. I bolted out the door. Just as I thought, something went wrong at the flamingo exhibit. When we arrived, Hilda was in the middle of an argument with my mom. This is all your fault for not keeping an eye on your son. Now our flamingos are injured, you're paying for this. My mom actually had the upper hand in the confrontation. What kind of savage beasts do you keep in this zoo? My boy just wanted to pet the animals, and these damn creatures pecked him. Look what they did to him. Your zoo must compensate us. I glanced at Bram, his face twisted in malice as he glared at Hilda, his clothes riddled with puncture marks and faint bloodstains seeping through. Director, thank God you're here. Hilda recounted the incident with tears streaming down her face. Just like in the previous life, Bram seized the moment while my mom was chatting with Hilda to pounce on a flamingo, viciously tearing at its feathers and wings. But flamingos are social creatures. The moment he struck, hundreds of other flamingos turned on him in retaliation. In the end, only 2 flamingos sustained minor injuries, while Bram ended up covered in peck wounds from head to toe. My mother's wailing drew quite a crowd of tourists to prevent the situation from escalating. The zoo director had to pacify my mother first, then redirected all his fury toward Hilda, who gave you permission to open the gate for visitors. You're solely responsible for this accident. Consider your entire month's salary forfeited. Hilda widened her eyes indignantly, just in time to spot me hiding behind the director. She immediately pointed at me and shouted, "Principal, this has nothing to do with me. These 2 are Claire's mother and brother. She asked me to let them in." The principal's sharp gaze instantly fixed on me. "Claire, is this true?" I pinched my thigh hard and immediately squeezed out a few crocodile tears. "Principal, these 2 are indeed my family members, but I always follow the rules and never let anyone into the restricted area. I made this clear to Hilda too. She brought them in without authorization." "That's a lie. You specifically asked me to give your family a close-up tour of the animals." At that moment, I suddenly glanced at my silent mother standing nearby. "Mom, what do you think?" She was anxiously examining my brother's wound. Hearing this, my mother's eyes darted around before she rushed over to grab my hand. "Claire, we were wrong, plain and simple. We can't go blaming others. Wasn't it you who asked this lady to let us in?" At that moment, I was completely disillusioned with her. Without another word, I pulled up the recording on my phone. Thankfully, I'd been recording nonstop since the moment I saw my mom. The recording clearly shows Hilda was the one who led my mom and brother into the compound. The zoo director flew into a rage and fired Hilda on the spot, with my mom making a scene. The whole incident was hastily settled with the zoo compensating her 200,000 yuan. When the money came through, my mom was so thrilled she could barely blink. "Claire, they actually paid 200 grand. Your brother's injury wasn't even that serious. Is this zoo made of money?" I noticed the greed in her eyes and smiled. "This amount is just a drop in the bucket for the director. Of course he can afford the compensation." My mother stayed silent, clearly scheming something. After getting home, I secretly installed the surveillance camera I'd bought on the way in the living room. The next day, I went to work as usual and saw my mom feeding my little brother through the security camera. Covered in bruises and in a foul mood, Bram smashed his bowl on the spot. "I won't eat, I want to play poker." My mother's face was etched with worry. "Sweetheart, how can you stay healthy without eating? You've already blown all our family savings on online games. We've only got 200k left now. Let's stop this gambling." Bram had always been slow-witted and spoiled rotten by my mother since childhood. He immediately threw the dishes on the floor and threw a tantrum. "I don't care. Give me that 200k. You promised we'd get 500k if we married Claire off. Just wed her to that blind bastard Daryl." "Well," my mother hesitated, then nodded. "Haven't I been sabotaging her job every single time? I just didn't expect the girl to be so stubborn. But don't worry, I'll make the money." Left with no choice, my mother transferred the freshly acquired 200,000 yuan to Bram. I watched this scene unfold on the surveillance feed, a cold smirk playing on my lips. So all those times Mom ruined my job opportunities, it was never about petty gains. She just wanted to force me home for marriage. She wanted to marry me off to that blind Daryl from our hometown. Rumor has it his family offered $500,000 in bride price. Suddenly I remembered the cold determination in my mother's eyes when she pushed me off the building in my past life. By then Bram must have already lost a fortune gambling online. Even selling me off wouldn't have covered his debts. That's why she chose to end my life without hesitation. The compensation for a human life far exceeds 500,000. Seeing the truth, I resolved to show no more mercy. After that day, my mother started contacting me frequently, checking on me with constant concern. I kept giving her half-hearted responses, until one day she spoke up again. "Claire, the weather's nice tomorrow. My brother and I will come visit you at the zoo." She paused, then added awkwardly, "Don't worry. We'll cover the tickets this time, no need for reimbursement." Glancing at the tiger lazily sunbathing on the hillside, I casually agreed. I could tell my mom was reaching her breaking point. The 200k she transferred to Bram last week had already been gambled away, and now he's demanding more money. But where would she even get it? I had someone discreetly check my mom's assets, ever since Bram got hooked on online gambling. All the properties and cars my mom secretly bought for him were liquidated just to cover his losses. When will this mess ever end? The next morning, my mom indeed came to see me with Bram. "Claire, I brought you some fruit." I gave it a quick glance. Bringing me rotten fruit from home, might as well treat me like a trash can. I shooed them both out. "Stop bothering me. I'm swamped with work. The animals in this garden are priceless. If anything happens to them, I couldn't possibly afford the compensation." The moment compensation was mentioned, my mother's face lit up with a grin from ear to ear. She struggled to contain herself, then suddenly clutched her stomach with a dramatic gasp. "Ouch, Claire, Mommy's stomach hurts so bad. I don't know where your bathroom is. Could you take me there?" I frowned with visible irritation. "Just turn left down this hallway. It's at the very end." My mom gripped my arm tightly and softened her tone. "Just come with me this once. Let your brother keep watch here. Nothing bad will happen." I glanced at Bram looking around restlessly and couldn't help but chuckle. Leaving him alone here, now that would be a real disaster. But all this was exactly as I'd anticipated. I pretended to hesitate until she begged me several times before finally agreeing. Before leaving, I gave Bram another warning. "These fences are live. I just flipped the switch. If you go wandering and get electrocuted, that's on you." Bram remained silent, staring ominously at the distant hillside with unreadable thoughts. My mom walked unusually slow the whole way, as if deliberately stalling for time. I knew what she was up to, so I played along without hurrying her. The moment Mom entered the restroom, I immediately pulled out my backup phone and opened my live stream. That's right, I was live streaming. I've always had the habit of documenting my daily life, and I've gathered a small following online. Ever since being transferred to the Siberian tiger habitat, I've been streaming daily. Right now there are 10,000 viewers in my live room. 3. My sudden disappearance left my live audience just chatting among themselves, until someone noticed something was off. "Holy shit, what's that brat doing? He's actually trying to climb over the electric fence." I knew something was off when I saw him flip that switch earlier. "But this is insane. The kid's got a death wish. Look. That little bastard's poking Nora with a stick." I was glued to the screen, terrified of missing even the slightest detail. You've got to admit, Bram's got nerves of steel. Any sane person would have bolted the moment they saw that sleeping Siberian tiger, even if they dared to climb the electric fence. But Bram's clearly not playing with a full deck. Instead of running, the lunatic actually picked up a stick to poke the tiger's rear, after crippling that white peacock in his past life. It's high time he learned what a real predator looks like. Nora, who had been sound asleep, suddenly caught a whiff of something unusual. She sprang up instantly, her meter-long tail sending Bram flying across the ground. Roar! A bone-chilling tiger's roar echoed from nearby. My mom happened to be coming out of the bathroom. Hearing the noise, she turned to me with curiosity. "Claire, what's that sound? It's giving me the creeps." I put away my phone and flashed her a smile. That's a tiger, my newly adopted Siberian tiger, fierce little thing. My mom's brain short-circuited for a moment. She stared at me rigidly, her face turning pale in an instant. What Siberian tiger? Weren't there peacocks in your zoo enclosure? Mom, I got transferred to the tiger exhibit. My mother's pupils suddenly dilated as she trembled and murmured, Bram, oh no, my baby. She turned and sprinted back, not even noticing when her shoes flew off. I followed at a leisurely pace while keeping an eye on the live stream. Call the staff immediately. This could be life or death. That brat climbed in by himself. Who's to blame? Serves him right if something happens. Nora just had her cub. She's at her most vulnerable right now. With intruders barging in, this could turn deadly. When I arrived at the scene, Bram had already scrambled up a nearby tree. Miraculously, he escaped with nothing worse than torn pant legs. My frantic mother, desperate to save me, had already recklessly climbed over the electric fence and was shouting urgently at Bram, Sweetheart, stay still, Mommy's coming to save you. Bram clung to the tree trunk for dear life, his face ashen with fear, yet still found the breath to yell at my mother, This damn beast is trying to bite me. Mom, hurry up and save me. The moment he finished speaking, his body slipped down an inch. Panicked, Bram scrambled up the tree with all four limbs. Though his poor athleticism meant he wouldn't last long, Nora circled the massive tree relentlessly, her predatory gaze locked on Bram perched above. While Nora could easily leap to that height, the newly postpartum tigress remained cautious, scanning for potential threats. But my mother couldn't care less. All she knew was that her precious son was dying, so she recklessly climbed over the electric fence and charged straight at Nora, screaming at the top of her lungs, You damn beast. Come at me if you dare. Don't you lay a finger on my boy. Probably trying to psych herself up, my mom started flailing her arms wildly, but to a tiger, those movements read as clear provocation. Sure enough, Nora bared her fangs with a thunderous roar and charged straight at my mother. Paralyzed with terror, my mom froze on the spot. Before she could react, the 300-pound Siberian tiger had already pounced on her by the protective ditch, sinking its teeth into her left shoulder while violently clawing at her legs. Blood instantly soaked through my mother's clothes. The excruciating pain and terror turned her face ghostly pale as she let out agonizing screams. The live stream chat went absolutely wild. Oh my God, that's the mother of that bratty kid, isn't it? A mother's love truly knows no bounds. That mother would be lucky to survive with anything less than critical injuries. What a horrific tragedy. Where are the zookeepers? Get that tiger away now before someone gets killed. I watched the scene unfold with an expressionless face, staying just outside the camera frame. They were absolutely right. A mother's love truly knows no bounds. Yet my mother reserved all her maternal love for her precious son, treating me worse than a stranger. I was curious to see how Bram would respond to such motherly affection, as Nora viciously mauled my mother. Bram, still perched in the tree, gathered his courage and began inching his way down once the danger seemed past. Hearing my mother's agonized screams, he barely glanced her way before turning tail and running without a second thought. Nora was hyper-alert, instantly whipping her head around at the slightest sound. Claire, save your brother, now, half her body mauled beyond recognition. Yet my mother still found the strength to scream for me to help. Her defiance ignited Nora's fury. The panther's amber eyes slid into vertical lines as she pinned my mother down, the sickening crack of vertebrae echoing in my ears. It's time. I pulled out the prep tranquilizer dart and fired it at Nora with surgical precision. The needle pierced her skin as Nora rolled away in distress. Within moments, the sedative took effect and Nora collapsed unconscious. Just then, the rescue team arrived in time. I opened the door and joined them in saving my mom. My mother was covered in wounds and barely breathing. Even so, when I approached, she gripped my hand tightly and said to me, Claire, you must protect your little brother at all costs. My heart remains utterly undisturbed. My mother's doting on my younger brother is something I could never hope to match in this lifetime. Just then, my brother's angry shouts suddenly rang out from nearby. Seeing the tiger subdued, he actually came running back and was now viciously kicking the beast. Damn beast, still trying to bite me, worthless piece of trash. I wanted to warn them, but it was too late. Nora suddenly woke up and slashed at Bram with her claws, severing half his hand in an instant. I quickly administered another dose of anesthetic, but it was too late. Bram writhed on the ground, clutching his severed hand and howling in agony. My mother took one look at the scene, rolled her eyes back, and passed out cold. The video of the zoo tiger attack went viral. Unlike the torrent of criticism in her past life, my mother actually received many sympathetic looks this time. After all, everyone saw that my troublemaker brother was the one at fault. Mom just failed to discipline him properly. Hardly a crime worthy of death. After a night of emergency treatment, my mother was transferred to the ICU. The first thing she did upon waking, tubes covering her entire body, was to ask for me. How's my sweetheart doing? I gave her a smile from the hospital bedside. Bram's still alive and kicking, just missing an arm, no big deal. I watched her face turn deathly pale in an instant. My mother trembled uncontrollably, tears of anguish welling up in her eyes. She struggled to speak. Claire, you must demand compensation from the zoo, or your brother won't survive this. Compensation. My knife paused midair as I peeled the apple, its cold gleam reflecting my mother's frantic face. Mom. Bram trespassed by cutting the electric fence and climbing into the compound. Her chapped lips trembled as clouded eyes bore into me. What are you implying? I smiled faintly. You damaged the tiger enclosure. The zoo could sue you for endangering protected species. My mother's withered hand clutched at my collar, the 4-needle oozing blood as she pulled. Make them pay. Demand compensation. Just say it was your work mistake. That you accidentally let your brother in. The smile slowly faded from my face. What if they sue me and I end up in jail? I'm not the least bit surprised my mother would say something like this. After all, in my past life when posting on social media, she always pinned all the blame on me too. My mother seemed faintly remorseful as she gripped my hand tightly. Claire, once we get the compensation money, our family will be set for life. After you serve your time, your brother and I will take care of you forever. What a load of empty promises. Too bad I'll never trust her words again, but I agreed anyway and arranged for media to interview my mom, letting her play the victim on camera to gain public sympathy. My mom's quite the actress, tears streaming down her face. She choked out her words in front of the reporters. My Claire has been irresponsible since childhood. I've struggled alone to raise both of them, yet in the end, she couldn't even take proper care of her own brother. That tiger was hers to begin with. How could she deliberately let her brother into its enclosure and allow the beast to maul him? My mother sobbed hysterically, making it sound like I'd plotted the whole thing. I stood by watching coldly from the sidelines. We'd agreed beforehand to say I'd left the door unlatched, letting Bram wander in by accident, but when the cameras rolled, my mother claimed I'd intentionally let him in. She'd stop at nothing to see me destroyed, but as she spoke, I noticed the reporter's expression shift noticeably. Ma'am, the surveillance footage clearly shows your son turning off the electric fence and climbing over the railing when no adults were present. How is this your daughter's fault? My mother's face instantly darkened. How dare you? It was Claire who left the gate unsecured and let my son in. My boy would never do such a thing. He's always been well behaved. Little did she know I'd been live streaming the entire incident yesterday. Everyone knew exactly how Bram got in. The reporters immediately understood and turned sarcastic. We all saw your son trespassing and poking the tiger with a stick. Why blame your daughter? No wonder he turned out like this. That remark hit my mother where it hurt. Bram was the apple of her eye, and heaven help anyone who dared criticize her precious boy. My mother completely lost it. What's wrong with my son? The fact that he dared poke a tiger shows how brave and spirited he is. Could your average child do that? Besides, aren't zoo animals meant for children's entertainment? Every child is their family's pride and joy. Now that my son lost an arm because of that zoo's tiger, they owe us $5 million in compensation. The reporters present were utterly dumbfounded by her outburst. In my past life, my mother used my account to post those remarks, getting me cyberbullied. This time, it's finally her turn to say those words herself, seeing her hopeless state. The journalist turned the camera toward me, with swollen red eyes. I suddenly collapsed by the hospital bed. Mom, stop this nonsense. Bram's already 17. You can't keep treating him like a child just because he has dwarfism. I know you've always favored my brother since we were kids, never giving me a single cent of allowance while showering him with designer brands, even buying him cars and houses in advance. I never complained about any of that, but for God's sake, stop pinning his mistakes on me. I knelt on the floor, banging my head against it with hollow thuds. My mother turned pale and stared at me with trembling hands. When did you find out? Sensing there was more to the story, reporters immediately turned their cameras toward me for interviews. I poured out years of my mother's unfair treatment toward me in one emotional outburst. When the video went viral online, public opinion completely flipped. And here I was feeling sorry for this mother. Turns out she's just another sexist who favors sons over daughters, calling a 17-year-old a child. Please, that's just a grown-ass baby, serves his mom right, and his brother too. Only that poor girl deserves sympathy, dragged down by her own family, and now she might even face legal consequences from the zoo. After everyone left, my mom finally realized I'd known all along about her little deception. She avoided eye contact, staring at me in disbelief. So you deliberately harmed your own brother? I cut her off with an expressionless face. Your own greed doomed you. I never told Bram to climb that electric fence. 5. My mother was gasping for breath, her face turning an ashen gray. She glared at me with the venomous stare reserved for mortal enemies. This is all your fault. Your brother lost his hand because of you. Claire, you wicked girl, I should have married you off to that blind Daryl when I had the chance. I stood up and flashed her a deliberate smile. Mom, you always dote on my brother, but when that tiger attacked you, why did he run without even looking back? He didn't even try to save you. My mother was speechless. After a long pause, she hastily came up with an excuse. That just shows how smart your brother is. He knew he couldn't fight the tiger, so he went to get help. I burst out laughing. Perhaps this is what unconditional maternal love truly means. Even when betrayed and abandoned by her own son, she still finds excuses for him. What a pity I've never known such motherly love. I stopped visiting my mother in the hospital and instead filed a lawsuit against the zoo, true to form. The zoo refused compensation and tried to pin the blame on me for the tourists' breach into the tiger enclosure. Only after the zoo director had talked himself hoarse did I leisurely pull out an internship contract from my bag. The director was instantly rendered speechless. The zoo had me sign an internship contract specifically to underpay me, but regulations clearly state that intern zookeepers aren't qualified to manage the entire facility alone. This constitutes negligence on the zoo's part. Combined with the massive public outcry, the court reached its final verdict unusually quickly. The zoo needs to pay a total compensation of 2 million yuan to my mother and younger brother. On the day the verdict came out, I let out a quiet sigh in front of my brother. 2 million might not even cover mom's future medical bills. Every extra day she lives means another day's worth of treatment costs. Bram stood nearby with a dark expression, lost in thought. After losing a hand, he became more irritable and impulsive. Midway, Bram suddenly said he needed to get off the car for an urgent matter. He didn't know I was following behind him. Bram rushed back to the hospital ward and snapped at my mother's concerned questions and frustration. They only gave me 2 million in compensation. I lost my hand. This measly 2 million isn't nearly enough. My mother collapsed onto the bed, weakly trying to comfort him. Don't worry, sweetheart. This 2 million is all yours. Mom won't let your sister take a single cent. But my mother didn't notice the way Bram's gaze toward her had changed. He stared at my mother's foredrip and suddenly burst into laughter. Mom, your medical bills are so expensive. Since you're going to die anyway, why not leave all the money to me? Before my mother could react, Bram rushed forward and yanked out her oxygen tube. The doctor said your spine is broken. You'll be bedridden for the rest of your life. Might as well die sooner. Bram stood by the bed grinning foolishly, his eyes brimming with greed. If you die, maybe I'll get even more money. From the doorway, I watched in horror as my mother's eyes bulged wide, her throat emitting choked gurgling sounds. Her eyes screamed with desperate longing for life, her trembling hand still feebly reaching for the emergency call button. My brother slapped my hand away without hesitation. If you really love me, then go die for me, even with her dying breath. My mother's eyes remained fixed on my brother with an unblinking stare. She could never have imagined that the son she'd spoiled his entire life would ultimately be the one to kill her with his own hands. When I was certain it was all over, I burst through the hospital room door, sobbing uncontrollably. Mom, what's wrong with you? I called the police on my own brother. As the officers led him away, Bram still clung desperately to the foretube, muttering defiant words. Mom's dead. All the money's mine now. The cops were looking at him differently now. Bram was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment for premeditated murder, and as the sole surviving relative, I received the full compensation. On the payout day, the director kept giving me this icy stare that lingered. Claire, take this money and I'll make sure you won't live to spend it. I pretended not to hear his threat and pocketed the cash without hesitation. I immediately turned around with the documents to report the zoo director for embezzling animal care funds and sexually harassing female staff. I owe it all to Hilda for helping me obtain the evidence. After the tiger attack incident came to light, Hilda reached out to me on her own initiative and apologized. I didn't understand the dynamics between you and your family back then. I'm truly sorry. She also confessed that her previous suspicions about me and the director stemmed from his persistent harassment of her. With her assistance, I successfully obtained evidence of the director's embezzlement and misconduct. On the day the zoo director was dismissed and taken away for investigation, my calm handling of the emergency situation got me elected as the new deputy director. I returned to the peacock garden once more. The white peacock that Bram had severely injured in its past life now stood bathed in sunlight, spreading its snow-white wings for the first time like an angel's radiance. Standing outside the enclosure, my employee badge gleamed brightly on my chest. Vice Principal Claire. The breeze carried distant laughter of children. This time, I've truly been reborn. I just smiled. Story 2. My best friend is the female protagonist of a post-apocalyptic story, before the apocalypse even started. She used her special advantage to hoard supplies excessively. To conceal her identity, she always used my address for the deliveries. When the apocalypse erupted, countless people stormed into my house, demanding that I hand over the supplies. I desperately tried to explain that I really didn't have any supplies, but I was still brutally murdered. My friend mingled among the crowd, triumphantly thinking, "It's good that I was cautious and didn't use my own address." When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the time before the apocalypse had begun. Outside the villa, my front door was smashed in with a hammer. Dozens of people broke in. They pinned me to the ground and repeatedly demanded, "Where are the supplies?" I kept arguing that I truly didn't know where the supplies were, pleading with them to let me go, but to no avail. Countless fists and stones were hurled at me. The leader threw a list at my face, cursing, "You're lying. You just bought a whole 1,000 tons of rice last month. And it clearly lists your address. Better confess where you've stored everything you bought." After saying this, he kicked me in the stomach. Blood spurted from my mouth. At that moment, I saw the paper with my name and phone number on it, unmistakably in my friend Mabel's handwriting. Before I could speak, I lost consciousness due to excessive blood loss. My soul floated in midair. I clearly saw Mabel among the crowd, smugly thinking, "Good thing I was careful not to use my own address." Only then did I realize that she had known about the apocalypse early on and had collected supplies using the system space. Whenever she ordered supplies, she used my phone number and address to hide her own identity. I was targeted by a mob because of the information she provided. It was because of her that I suffered this undeserved disaster. Even if I misjudged her, I accepted it. But my family also suffered and died due to her actions, overwhelmed by immense hatred. I woke up again before the apocalypse had started. I pinched my face hard to make sure I was indeed reborn. I checked the date on my phone. There was still half a month before the apocalypse. Everything was still within reach. Ding, a sound of unlocking. Mabel walked in boldly, pushing open the door to my bedroom. "Madeline, I have some good news for you." I suppressed the urge to kill her and asked with a frown, "What is it?" Mabel cleared her throat, standing tall and proud. "I've decided to transfer my company's shares. Rather than letting someone else benefit from them, I might as well sell them to you. After all, it's better to keep the benefits within our circle. Just give me $2 billion. Seeing how the apocalypse is approaching, she wants to sell me the soon-to-be worthless company shares at a high price. What does she mean by not letting benefits go to outsiders? Clearly, she's trying to make a fool out of me. In my previous life, considering our years of friendship, I didn't think twice and immediately agreed to her request. I transferred all my money to her without a second thought. Soon after, the apocalypse arrived, and prices skyrocketed. Ordinary grains that were once common became astonishingly expensive. The high-priced shares I bought from Mabel became worthless. Suddenly, I couldn't produce any extra cash and had to sell everything in my house just to scrape together a few boxes of instant noodles. And even those noodles were eventually stolen. Mabel, pretending to care, was almost too eager as she pulled out a printed contract. "Take a look, and if there's no problem, let's sign it now." Well, the contract was all prepared. "You're always so fixated on my money." I almost laughed in frustration and responded, "Keep your shares, I don't want them." As soon as she realized she couldn't get cash from me, Mabel became anxious and quickly said, "Madeline, if you miss this opportunity, there won't be another. If someone else grabs it, you'll regret it." I couldn't help but laugh. With the apocalypse less than half a month away, once the time comes, all these company shares will almost turn into nothing. Who would bother fighting over them? I just smiled faintly. "Of course, I won't regret it." Mabel, cursing under her breath, stormed off. I watched her retreating figure coldly and picked up my phone. I called the property management to emphasize that Mabel should no longer be allowed in. Mabel and I grew up together, and over the years, she frequently visited my home. The security and property management teams in the villa complex knew her well, allowing her easy access to my home. In my previous life, she exploited this by sneaking a large batch of supplies into my basement to avoid my notice. She specifically chose my work hours for the deliveries. Trucks marked with the supermarket logo boldly drove into my home, drawing quite a bit of attention. Mabel, acting as if nothing was amiss, loudly called for the property management to help her move boxes of supplies into the basement. Wiping the sweat from his forehead, a property manager asked in confusion, "Missy, why did you buy so much stuff?" Mabel, with her innocent white eyes, replied, "This is all stuff Madeline asked me to buy. I have no idea why she wants tons of rice in the house. Oh, and there are also 5,000 pounds of pork coming. I'll need your help with that too." Despite their confusion, the property management dutifully assisted with the deliveries. This went on for more than 10 days. Thanks to her enthusiastic promotion, even the security guards from the neighboring complex heard about my grand undertaking. All the while, I was kept in the dark, working overtime at the office. Thinking about this, I couldn't hide the resentment in my eyes anymore. Mabel and I have known each other for many years, and I've been nothing but open-hearted with her. After her parents passed away, I let her treat my home as her second home. Even the company left by her parents only reached its current scale with 2 years of hard work and care from me, but I never expected to have raised a bunch of ingrates. After today, Mabel pestered me for 2 more days, trying to convince me to buy her shares. After repeatedly refusing her and seeing that time was running out, Mabel, unable to sit still any longer, gritted her teeth and sold her shares to a rival company at a low price. After signing the contract, seeing nearly half the expected amount missing from her account, Mabel's face was so dark it could drip ink. I just happened to walk past the scene, seeing me, Mabel, as if finding a vent for her anger, glared at me furiously and snapped, "Madeline, are you happy now? Ridiculous." I rolled my eyes and turned to enter another private room. Inside was an important client I had finally managed to arrange a meeting with. To show my sincerity, I had chosen the best 5-star hotel in the area, but coincidentally ran into Mabel. "Boss, I've already discussed the price with your assistant, but we still need to consult the other directors about the share transaction." Before I could respond, the door of the private room was suddenly pushed open, and Mabel burst in excitedly. "What, Madeline, you're selling company shares? Why would you suddenly sell them? It can't be to imitate me, right? You can't sell." Mabel's voice was loud, drawing quite a bit of attention. I frowned and said coldly, "This is my matter, it has nothing to do with you." But Mabel was not listening. "My company is more than 10 times the size of Mabel's, with the careful management over many years. Once the news that I wanted to sell shares was released, numerous buyers would clamor for the opportunity, and the price would only go up." Thinking of this made Mabel insanely jealous. Ignoring everyone else, she rushed up to me, grabbed the contract from the table, and attempted to tear it up. Before she could act, I slapped her hard across the face. "Snap, Mabel, open your eyes and look carefully. I am acquiring shares, not selling the company," I said. Mabel was stunned. Then she saw the acquisition contract in her hands, realizing her mistake. Mabel's face stiffened. The next second, she felt a burning pain on her cheek. Before she could react, I pretended to hesitate. "After this acquisition, my company's account will probably run out of money." I was hesitant about buying it, but since you're objecting, upon hearing my words, Mabel's eyes lit up. Buy. Of course, you should buy. You can always make the money back later. You go ahead, I won't disturb you anymore." After saying this, she quickly left the room, carefully arranging the contract as she went, anxious to avoid any mishaps with the transaction. Half an hour later, just as I was leaving the hotel, Mabel approached me, her tone urgent. "Did you sign it? Was there any problem?" I was in a good mood and didn't mind her attitude. "It's already signed," she sighed with relief, unable to hide the joy on her face. "Hee, Madeline. I haven't had the chance to congratulate you yet. Investing so much money, you must expect a good return." Mabel's gaze was full of schadenfreude. I knew it. She couldn't wait to see me lose everything, but she was going to be disappointed. The acquisition wasn't just any company, it was the largest and most comprehensive food processing factory in the city. This factory was involved in many businesses. Nearly every supermarket in the city sourced their goods from here. In essence, controlling this factory meant controlling nearly half of the city's supermarkets. With it, I could freely pursue the projects I wanted to engage in. After acquiring the factory, I started making the workers work overtime day and night. We aimed to produce as much material as possible in a limited time. After all, in a post-apocalyptic world, having resources could give people a glimmer of hope for survival. I had just finished tallying the existing materials in the warehouse when I received a report from my assistant. "Boss, several of the supermarkets we work with received large orders today. The buyer wants to have the goods shipped directly from our factory to their home. Please have a look." While talking, the assistant handed me the orders. On the first day I took over the factory, I had issued an order. Apart from a few large supermarkets we previously cooperated with, we would not accept any private orders. Normally, Assistant Hunter would have refused directly, unless I looked down and, sure enough, the order was clearly signed with my name. I clenched my fists, my eyes fixed on the order. Unsurprisingly, Mabel had once again chosen to drag me down. Upon closer inspection of the order, I realized that in addition to the goods being sent to my house during the day, Mabel had also ordered millions worth of staples for a remote suburban area. She even noted that the delivery should be made at midnight. Suddenly, I realized this must be Mabel's other warehouse. In my previous life, I only knew that the basement of my own house was Mabel's hoarding spot. To my surprise, she had a backup plan all along. I couldn't help feeling relieved that I had directly purchased the largest food processing plant in our city. This allowed me to quickly notice Mabel's actions. Just after giving a few instructions to my assistant, My phone rang like a death knell. As soon as I answered, Mabel's angry voice came through, questioning me furiously. "Madeline, what's wrong with your security? Why wouldn't they let me in? Just tell them to let me in now," I said indifferently, ignoring her reproach. "You had a reason to come to my house, Madeline. What kind of question is that? Aren't we the best of friends? Do I need a reason to come see you?" Mabel acted as if nothing had happened, cooing to me as usual. Her familiar tone momentarily took me back to the past, but then I remembered that her sweet words were masking her deadly intentions. I snapped back to reality. "Friends? I don't have friends like you. Don't come to my house again." Mabel, who had always seen me as amiable, didn't expect such an unceremonious dismissal. She was still in shock when I hung up the phone. I blocked her number immediately and took a long breath of relief, failing to get into my house. I wondered what other schemes Mabel might concoct to harm me, but now, I had more important things to deal with, things far more critical than taking revenge on her. After realizing she really couldn't enter the residential area, Mabel contacted the supermarket again. She redirected the supplies originally intended for my house to a warehouse in the suburbs. In the following days, Mabel placed several orders with the factory. I roughly calculated the cost, and it seemed to match up with all her assets. I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking she wouldn't have other channels to place orders now. The day before the apocalypse, the sky was eerily calm. It seemed like a storm was brewing. Everyone was oblivious to the imminent natural disaster when suddenly, a video went viral. In the video, a dimly lit room was filled with rows of cardboard boxes, almost entirely packed with various kinds of food. The caption read, "Plenty of supplies, feeling secure." The location was set in my residential area, and in the last second of the video, the door plate of my house was inadvertently shown. Coincidence? Definitely not. The comments section was bustling. "Buying so much rice. Are you planning to eat for 10 years? Huh. Someone's been reading too many apocalypse novels. Actually hoarding that much? Exactly, and it's in a wealthy area too. Probably just someone with more money than sense." There was no doubt in my mind that Mabel had posted the video. I scoffed to myself. To harm me, she really was stopping at nothing. The video hadn't been out long when another news caught everyone's attention. The government suddenly announced a notice. Starting tomorrow, everyone would be on leave, working from home, with no permission to go outside. This announcement shocked the nation. All factories and businesses stopped overnight. The efficiency of the state was terrifying. Online, numerous conspiracy theories emerged, but they were banned within seconds. I sighed in relief, as it seemed the message I had sent out earlier was confirmed by the authorities. That night, while countless people were restless, I managed to sleep well for the first time in a long time. The next morning, I woke up. The glaring sunlight streamed through the curtains. Cautiously, I extended a thermometer outside the window. 62 degrees. The high-temperature apocalypse had indeed arrived. I sighed resignedly and turned on the weather forecast. Today's forecast predicts a high of 52 degrees Celsius, pushing the limits of human endurance, and this is just the beginning. Over the next month, temperatures will continue to rise, reaching a terrifying figure in just 20 days. In a previous life, countless people perished from heatstroke. The intense heat accelerated the proliferation of bacteria, leading to outbreaks of plague. Prolonged heat and bacterial infections caused massive food spoilage. Common staples like rice became scarce. Supermarkets were quickly stripped bare. In this life, before the second day of extreme heat even dawned, the military began organizing people to seek refuge in bomb shelters. I lingered at the back of the crowd, secretly searching for Mabel. Soon, I spotted her surrounded by a group of people begging for food in a nearby corner. "Share some food with me. I saw you have some," they pleaded. "Please, my child hasn't eaten all day," another implored. Amidst the chaos, Mabel, looking pale and shaken, found herself trapped in the middle of a desperate crowd. This was the third day of the apocalypse. According to her original plan, she should have been comfortably at home, enjoying air conditioning and a lifetime supply of food, watching others fight over a few bags of rice. But unexpectedly, the government mandated everyone to seek shelter, forcing her to join the masses to avoid suspicion. Yet even during this crisis, Mabel refused to compromise her comfort, snacking on fruits and treats along the way, always pristine and clean. It wasn't long before she attracted attention. At a loss, she suddenly noticed me. Her eyes lit up, and she pointed at me, shouting, "Go to her. She was the city's richest. Surely she has more supplies than I do." That video of stockpiling that went viral was shot in her house. Satisfied with her maneuver, she looked at me smugly. "Madeline, you wouldn't be so stingy as to not share some supplies, would you?" Thanks to her, I was now the focus of everyone's probing and greedy stares. Surrounded by malice from all sides, I felt a chill run down my spine. I knew that if I didn't dispel their thoughts now, I'd soon meet the same fate as in my previous life. Taking a deep breath, I declared loudly, "Yes, that video was filmed at my house." The crowd erupted in excitement. Before Mabel could revel in her victory, I continued, however, I have already donated all my supplies and assets to the nation, hoping we can all pull together and survive this apocalypse. To prove my point, I opened my backpack to reveal nothing but a few changes of clothes. The shelter fell silent for a moment before buzzing with discussions, their attention shifting away from me. Just as I was about to breathe a sigh of relief, Mabel screamed incredulously. Impossible, you must have hidden something else. How could you bear to donate all your supplies? Irritated, I was about to retort when a stern voice intervened from behind. I can confirm, a military officer emerged from the shadows, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. Madame Madeleine has indeed donated all her materials, making a significant contribution to this relocation effort, he continued authoritatively. In gratitude for Madeleine's contributions, we will ensure her personal safety. I hope certain individuals will cease causing trouble unnecessarily. At this moment, my anxiety finally settled down. With the backing of official personnel, even if others were restless, they wouldn't dare to make a move against me lightly. After all, the apocalypse had just begun, and no one dared to openly oppose the authorities. Mabel glared at me with resentment in her eyes. She wanted to say more, but upon seeing the 3 stars on the military officer's shoulder, all she did was shoot me a fierce glare. I didn't take her provocation to heart and instead turned to walk towards the officer. Hunter had been my contact with the officials during this period. On the first day of my return, I utilized all my connections to convey the news of the apocalypse to the higher-ups. Initially, I wasn't taken seriously until I found out about Mabel's stockpile location. I had cameras secretly installed inside the house that clearly captured her storing dozens of tons of supplies in her space, which finally caught the officials' attention. Once they verified the reality of the apocalypse, I handed over my factory and all its supplies to the nation in exchange for military protection. After all, no matter how influential Mabel's golden finger was, it couldn't possibly outweigh the national machinery, could it? No, everything was going as I had planned. I successfully moved into the military quarters, surrounded by official personnel, which quickly allowed me to sleep soundly. The next morning, I was awoken by a noisy commotion. I want to see your leader. Let me in. Don't block me. Do you know who I am? How dare you stop me? It was Mabel's voice. I leisurely got ready and walked out. Just as I came out, I saw Mabel with disheveled hair, looking completely disheveled. She tried to enter but was stopped by several soldiers outside the security line. I watched her calmly. Upon seeing me, Mabel's eyes seemed to spit fire, as if she couldn't wait to tear me apart. If I wasn't mistaken, after I left with the officials yesterday, Mabel had to stay among the crowd. Everyone had already pegged her as an easy target, demanding supplies from her. Some nearly resorted to grabbing them directly. It was only thanks to the security team maintaining order that she escaped unscathed. No, she didn't dare stay outside on her own. Not long after, the leader Mabel wanted to see came out. It was Hunter. Upon seeing him, Mabel rushed forward as if she had found a lifesaver, eager to speak. I want to donate supplies and stay here too. Hunter raised an eyebrow and asked, how much can you donate? If the amount is too small, we might not consider accepting it. Mabel lifted her head proudly and boasted, I can donate a lot, definitely more than Madeleine, but I have one condition, and that is for her to move out, she said, pointing at me with undisguised malice. The surroundings fell silent for a moment, and Minister Hunter also remained quiet. An assistant nearby, unable to bear it, sarcastically remarked, with just that small bag you're carrying, how much can you possibly donate? Mabel gave her a cold glance but did not respond. Continuing to address Hunter, don't worry, you'll only profit from this deal, I assure you. I can provide 10 times more than what Madeleine offered. Hunter hesitated and glanced at me. I subtly nodded to him, clearing his throat. He then said, okay, but first, let me see the supplies you're talking about. At this, Mabel's face lit up with irrepressible triumph. In an effort to showcase her golden touch, Mabel made a grand spectacle, inviting a crowd to witness. Standing confidently in front of the warehouse, she seemed assured of her victory. With a mere thought, hundreds of large wooden crates materialized before everyone. Take a good look. These are the supplies I plan to donate, she declared. Isn't this enough? No, it's time for Madeleine to leave. The crowd was dumbfounded. Everyone watched Mabel in disbelief, marveling at how she could summon such an amount of supplies with a simple gesture. How did she do that? Just a wave of her hand and all these supplies appear. Could it be some kind of portable space? This is incredible. These supplies could last us a long time. While Mabel was basking in the adoration, I casually opened one of the crates and tore open the sealed bag, smiling slightly. So, these are the supplies you're donating. I raised my hand, allowing everyone to clearly see what I held. The bag contained nothing but a whole box of sand. Mabel's smile stiffened. She rushed forward, unable to believe what she saw in the crate. How can it be sand? She muttered, frantically opening the remaining crates. One by one, her disappointment grew. By the time she reached the last crate, her hands were trembling. Not a single grain of rice was to be found, let alone any substantial supplies. Expressionless, I watched the unfolding scene. From the moment I received Mabel's order, I had planned to make her pay dearly, offering prices far below market value to lure her in. She thought she was getting a deal, buying almost twice the supplies for half the money, a clear loss for her. Anyone in the know would have seen something was amiss, but not Mabel, ignorant of her own ignorance. She always considered herself a business prodigy. My thoughts were interrupted by the surrounding laughter. She almost fooled us, claiming the sand was supplies. What use is sand now? We thought it was food. What a waste of space. It should have been me instead, someone else added. Hunter cleared his throat and spoke seriously. If you can't produce the supplies, we don't accommodate irrelevant people here. Mabel, regaining her composure, glared at me and lunged, screaming, "It was you. You must have switched my supplies. Wench, I won't let you get away with this." Before she could reach me, my bodyguard firmly restrained her. I smirked, as if she had ever let me off the hook. From my rebirth to now, Mabel had constantly tried to put me in peril. If I didn't fight back, I'd betray the memory of my unjust past life. No matter how much Mabel shouted, it was futile. She was quickly removed by the guard team. The fact that Mabel possessed a space was deliberately spread by those with intentions, and within days, the news had circulated throughout the entire bunker. Wherever she went, people pressured her to hand over supplies. But no one believed that someone with her capabilities would only collect sand, day and night. She was closely watched, waiting for her to reveal food so they could immediately seize it. Unlike in my previous life, no one was lethal with Mabel, for no one knew if the materials in her space would vanish with her death. When I saw Mabel again a month later, the extreme heat had passed. Thanks to the government's early interventions, this life didn't see the widespread deaths of my previous life, nor did an epidemic break out. Everything was moving in a positive direction. As I followed the officials back to the surface, a gaunt figure rushed towards me. "Madeline, how are you still alive?" It was Mabel. "You should have been dead by now. Why have I become like this? Where are my supplies? Did you steal them?" It had been over a month since I last saw her, and she seemed to have aged a decade. Her figure had become nothing more than skin and bones, her eyes filled with hatred. She roared at me, "Why don't you just die? I was supposed to be one of the elite in this apocalypse, and it's all your fault I ended up like this. So what if you've been reborn? If I could kill you once, I can kill you again." I snapped awake. Standing before me was Mabel from my past life. Before I could even react, a dagger, gleaming coldly, materialized in her hand and plunged straight toward me. In a flash, a gunshot rang out. A bloody hole appeared in Mabel's head. Her pupils dilated in disbelief, as if she couldn't believe she had just been killed. Then, she slowly fell to the ground. I was not surprised in the least. I locked eyes with Hunter, who was holding the gun. Mabel, after hiding and surviving being robbed of her food hundreds of times, had gradually realized that the people around her wouldn't actually kill her. Slowly, her courage grew. She thought her special ability was invincible. Even the authorities seemed reluctant to give up on her personal space. That's why she brazenly attacked me in front of Hunter. Unfortunately for her, she had miscalculated. Compared to tangible supplies, an empty space is at best a warehouse, and now, the city was not lacking in warehouses. Even if Mabel had resisted attacking me, her only fate would have been dissection. With Mabel's death, the dangers around me had nearly vanished. After saying goodbye to Hunter and his group, I set off alone on the road back home. The apocalypse had ended, and many places were still waiting to be rebuilt. Due to my outstanding performance during this period, I had been officially appointed as one of the city's leaders. There were still many tasks awaiting my attention. Mabel's death was now just a trivial matter to me. My steps would not falter because of her. Even though I had been through dark times, my future was as brilliant as the morning dawn, filled with hope and beauty.